Hello, everybody. This is another edition of the Minnesota Forecaster, and we are here to talk about one of the most significant November snowstorms to come our way in quite a while. We
Top
have
five. I'm thinking top five.
top five for no
Top
top five for
five
November.
of a single 1 day snow total at MSP. Top five.
Well, there you go. You stolen the lead already. So let's dig right in and talk about what you guys expect.
By the way, it hasn't hit yet.
Right.
So this is very dangerous, right, Patrick? I mean,
I
yeah,
know,
everything
but
looks great.
you
Everything
like
looks great, but
you like to put your neck out, and I just did. But
Yeah.
I think if you look at climatology, there have been 8, 9, 10, 11-inch snowfalls in Minneapolis in the month of November, but they're rare. And if we can eclipse 9 inches or so, we will be in the top five.
yeah.
And Tom, as you get ready to talk about that, one of the questions I want to ask is, at what point during the onset should people think, hey, things are lining up like you think they are, or maybe they're not lining up?
Yeah, and here's the first thing I would look at is, of course, the radar trends overnight tonight now, because we're going to start seeing that band of snow move from South Dakota into southwestern West Central Minnesota. And it's always interesting to see where that leading band of snow up in the middle levels, let's say a forcing, we call forcing at maybe 700 millibars or 850 millibars, where does that initial forced band of snow set up overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning around sunrise? Where that first band sets up, you can almost be assured that that's going to be the axis of the heaviest snow when all is said and done.
Now, would you not agree that that axis at this point seems to be a Hutchinson North Metro up to uh, um, I'm trying to think of a town on the northern part of the St. Croix, north of Taylor's Falls, like Danbury,
So
Wisconsin.
Siren, and
Siren, yeah.
Hayward, that area, definitely. I mean, that's where I would put it. My biggest worry, and I think this is said for almost any time we get a storm like this, Bill and Patrick, is that we're going to get so much forcing in the lower levels of the atmosphere at the surface, at 850 millibars, let's say, that a warm nose is going to nudge into even the South Metro, let's say, and either turn our snow over to ice. I don't think we're going to get rain, by the way. I think it would be
No,
ice.
no.
Or just a dry tongue creeps into the South Metro or into the storm and cuts off the snow for a period. So I think one of those two scenarios is certainly possible. In fact, I think it's going to happen. It's just how far north is that dry slot, that little wedge of warm air at the 850 millibars? How far north is that going to go? And I think the Twin Cities is about it. And of course, we'll get that wavering, that switch over from snow
Right.
to ice, maybe back to snow. And what I'm really worried about, though, is yes, we're going to get heavy snow. Especially as you go north of the metro. I think that's pretty much a lock. But the duration of this storm, Patrick. Just looking at some of the latest model data, we're talking 24 to 30 hours worth of off and on precipitation, mostly snow.
So for that reason, have you watched? There's a model that's out now that's done by some wonderful people here locally called the WRF, the HOPWRF, and it's printing out these totals, which even the developers of the model have said even half this amount would be impressive.
Right.
But they've shown some like 25, 30-inch snow amounts, which sounds crazy. However, if you add in the duration, like you just mentioned, and that snow intensity of 1 to 2 inches per hour, which will of course fluctuate, you got to believe that there's going to be a lot of areas from that Anoka, Buffalo, through Rush City, Pine City, where there could be 14, 15 inches of snow, if not more.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Given the duration.
Yep. And by the way, that's a map that I have up now for you guys. Bill, I think, can everybody see it? I don't know if you switched over to it, but there.
I can see it. Yep.
I see Bill.
Hopefully it doesn't look like LSD to you again, Patrick. Right?
It does, but that's fine. I'm a San Francisco guy, so.
Yeah, well, so this is the Hydrometeorologic Prediction Center, the HPC, And you can clearly see where they think that heaviest band of snow, the axis of heavy snow, is going to be. This is in excess of 6 inches of snow. Whenever you get these blue colors and then graduating to orange and red colors, that means there's a higher than 50% chance likelihood.
Hey, Tom, can you click on the plus sign there and zero in a little bit? I think that should work.
You got it. Whoop.
And then drag it down a little bit.
Yep, you got it.
Cool.
Ooh, maybe a little
Whoa.
bit. But there you go. So there's the HPC, kind of just like what Patrick was saying, and what I think we all agree is that there's that axis of snow from Big Stone County at the elbow there of Minnesota, almost directly straight east across the northern Twin Cities Metro St. Cloud, maybe just south of Brainerd, but then east towards Hayward and Spooner, Wisconsin, Siren. So, and get this, here it is, Patrick. It's rare that you see this. 12 inches plus of snow. I rarely see the HPC giving over 50% chance.
Right.
This far out, even. Remember, we're still 12 hours before the onset of this storm, basically, or at least 6 to 12 hours. They've already got this area just north of the metro, or in the northern metro, basically a lock for nearly a foot of snow. So,
well, and the reason being, I think, for their confidence in that is that, again, it's November where there's a lot more moisture in the atmosphere than in December and January. And a lot of people go, well, then why don't we get these big storms in November and October? Well, we all remember the Halloween blizzard where there was a plethora of moisture. Well, November brings us that opportunity to have the blockbuster storms. We've had 11, 10, 9-inch snowfalls if you look at climatology. But everything has to come together. We've lost a lot of good potential snowstorms here because of rain, but the cold air is here. If you look at the profile of the atmosphere off the NAM or the GFS model, they're frozen from the surface all the way up. However, the NAM at one level, the 800 millibar level, goes above zero for an hour. The point is, it's all snow. It's not. I see what you were saying, Tom, about the mix over. I think that there is so much dynamic cooling involved that once it starts snowing, it's snow. I don't see a turnover here in the Twin Cities, but Rochester to Albert Lee to Waseca, there could be more of that transition.
Right. And by the way, one thing great about the time we started this video at tonight, guys, is we get the fresh NAM 00 Zulu model run. So this thing's hot off the press, and of course we're looking at that light blue line. This is at 850 millibars, gentlemen, and this is Monday afternoon, about 1 o'clock p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So right around lunch hour. Look at where that light blue line, the 32 degrees Fahrenheit line, 0
Where
degrees.
is it? I can't see it, so you got to tell me.
Yeah, so it's right into the southern metro.
Okay.
So, and then it moves it even just a little, at about 10 a.m., it actually moves it right through the heart of the metro. So, listen, there certainly could be a mix in the metro, especially the South Metro. There could even be a little bit of a dry slot that works into the South Metro that could cut down totals there. But that's the reason why the HPC and pretty much everybody now is thinking North Metro, and then further north is where that heaviest band's going to be. And I would tend to agree with that, and that's why I'm worried about ice again on the I-90 corridor, because it looks like it's certainly going to be warm enough to release liquid that may freeze on contact down there.
Right. I just found it interesting, even today, though, that the GFS at 0, 6, and 12Z came in so much colder. And the NAM is continuing with its warmer bias. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I will say, going outside right now, it's 38 degrees, and it's the wind is howling, and it feels every bit of 30s.
Well, one of the questions I had was, given that it really hasn't been that cold there yet, and it is early in the season, if you see any trouble with the snow piling up at all.
I think the rates are going to be impressive enough where you lose the first inch probably, but then it, especially from the North Metro onto Wisconsin, it's going to be coming down so hard that it's got to accumulate. And the initial snow total may look like 10 inches, but then it kind of compacts to 9 or 8.5.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to collect right away.
Gentlemen, this is now the latest, of course, the latest run from the NAM. This is the future radar depiction from the NAM. And this is at midnight tonight. You can see that the snow is just starting to fill in over southwestern Minnesota into south central Minnesota. And then watch what happens by tomorrow morning, by drive time tomorrow morning. All of the Twin Cities should be engulfed in snow tomorrow morning. And then this is what kind of concerns me. This band of heaviest snow, at least by noon, at about noontime tomorrow, pushes north of the Twin Cities into the Siren and Hayward, and then, of course, St. Cloud, and maybe even as far north as Brainerd, as a little bit of dry air moves in to southern Minnesota and even in the South Metro. So,
well, Tom, as you know, I think we talked about this last year, is that if you're in that pivot point where there's no break, you go from the kind of the warm frontal frontogenesis stuff to the deformation stuff, okay? That's a little inside baseball. You're snowing all day. But if you're south of that, which could include the Twin Cities, there may be that lull where you get that first wave of heavy snow, and then you transition to the deformation snow. There's a break. If you're south of that pivot point, which could make totals in Hastings and Farmington and Zumbrota lower,
right,
versus Buffalo and up through Malacca, where
right,
it could be snowing all day.
Yep, you're right, Patrick, and that's what we're going to be looking at during the day tomorrow and into tomorrow evening, is where does that pivot point set up. I think the consensus is now that the pivot point sets up over the northern Twin Cities metro, maybe near Anoka County, on northwest to near St. Cloud, and then maybe up to like Pine City. That might be that pivot point, and that's where that axis of heaviest snow would then set up. And I'm kind of going with that, as I think you are too, Patrick, just from the way you're talking. That's probably...
Well, it seems that way because there's been a consistency with the short-range NAM model. I will say that the GFS and the European have been south of that. But when you get into that 36, 48-hour window, that's when the nested models tend to outperform the wave models a little bit.
Right. Right. So with that being said, by the way, this is the 24-hour estimate. This is from Novak Weather. Here we go. This is what I'm thinking. Patrick, chime in. What do you think? Kind of right around St. Cloud, northern Twin Cities metro, right on up to Siren and Spooner. That's where that axis of heavy snow is, right? And then look at this, Patrick, Bill. Ice. If you're in La Crosse, if you're in Rochester, Albert Lee, I-90 corridor, oh, it could get nasty down there with ice as we head through the day and into the evening tomorrow before it finally changes over to a little bit of snow down there.
Yeah, I like that. I like how it looks right now. I like the focus in that northern part of Wisconsin because they're going to be in that deformation band all day. That southern tongue of your heaviest snow is going to be the critical part. And right now I think you've nailed it with west central Wisconsin up through the North Metro, which I was locked in with, by the way. The European seemed a little south than that, but with their 850 isotherm, south of Rochester, so I thought maybe, but I like that map. I like it.
Yeah. And of course, a surface low track from south central Iowa right up to near Milwaukee is pretty much perfect for heavy snow in and near the Twin Cities. So
right.
There's no reason why it shouldn't set up the way it does, unless this storm system tracks a few miles further north or a few miles further south.
But you know what's going to be interesting is that if at lunchtime tomorrow and people are in Burnsville or Egan and it's not snowing, they're going to go, what happened? That second part of the storm, which is the deformation band, may provide the heavier totals, which will come tomorrow night. So people waking up Tuesday morning will go, oh, okay, So
in other words, we can expect a wave or two of precipitation.
I think there's two. There's that first wave that you're showing moving into southwestern Minnesota. It moves north, hits the commute, continues to lift north, and the southeast metro stops snowing, potentially,
Right.
for a while.
I want to put you guys on the spot. Give me your guess for what the airport is going to record.
I think the airport, here's the tricky part, is that if you base it off the QPF alone, that the NAM and the GFS have printed out for the airport, you would have to say 12 inches or above, just based on that numerical fact. You don't often get inch totals in this season, in the snow season. I mean, it's crazy. So, however, I think that the axis will be just north of the airport. So my guess for the airport would be, I'm going to go 9.
You want to give us to a tenth of an inch?
9.2.
All right.
Yeah, usually I'm the one that goes out like that on a limb. I'm impressed, Patrick. Wow.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're going to go lower.
I am. I am for the airport. I'm thinking somewhere in that 5.5, 5.56 inch range for the airport, and I do think that
the airport. Okay.
Yep, and I do think that totals go down quickly as you head south then to Rochester, where maybe the Rochester area only picks up an inch or two of snow. And I would put that heavy band of snow, and I think it is going to be 12 inches plus, from right around St. Cloud, maybe even Monticello in that area, on east to about Hayward, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So Tom, I want you to nail down a number too. Patrick gave 9.5. What do you give him for?
No, I said 9.2.
Or 9.2. Sorry about that.
Yeah, 5.27.
Okay, there you go.
5.2, 5.3, right in there.
Okay.
I think this is a good wager. There should be some kind of prize for who's closer.
A trip to California.
There we go. Based on the 0Z run that I don't have in front of me, I give a little bit of weight towards Dr. Novak's prediction, given that warm air may be kind of punching into that southern metro. But I'm going to stick with 9.2. I'm going to be a GFS writer.
Yep, good. That might be a good move. Hey, one last thing, guys. As usual, it seems like the Twin Cities is always, has that.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird how that happens. Maybe it's just because it's a large metro area. Of course, that could be.
But when's the last time that you saw that gradient go from Dakota County down through Olmsted County? Doesn't happen.
Right.
It's always right up.
Yeah, try the DC area, guys. That is always on the line. So.
Yeah, and I just think it's kind of unfair for forecasters when you have to deal with a gradient like that because, again, we could be talking about 10, 11, 12 inches plus in the far northern metro to 3-4 inches down in southern Dakota County. So how do you predict that? I mean, that's just difficult. What you really have to just say is, hey, everybody, keep an eye on the radar. We're going to get some snow. Just expect a tight gradient, and we'll tell you tomorrow.
And remember, this happened, I think, during at least 2 to 4 storms last year. The North Metro was the winner of the storm, totals. There have been many seasons where the South Metro has had the abundance of snow, and our friends in Buffalo and Elk River and up to St. Cloud have gone, we've got nothing. So it's just kind of like last year was the year of the North Metro, and this may be the start of that again.
Yep.
We'll see.
It'll be fun. Maybe we can do this tomorrow night. We'll see, right, guys?
Right.
Yeah, I just want you guys to know, as you know, I live in California now, but I'm gonna practice my shoveling just to kind of be in sync with what's going on there. I feel the solidarity.
Hey, we Bill, feel that you're here in spirit. You're connected to the Minneapolis weather scene, and even though Livermore Pleasanton doesn't have a warning out, you're still here with us.
Good.
You may have a little fog to deal with back there, or
yeah. Well, someday we'll do an education about the Thule fog so people can learn more.
Right.
All right, guys.
All right, gentlemen. Anything else?
Have a good night.
Bring it
All
on.
right. Yeah, take care.